We're enjoying a beautiful day here at the Fly-In Cruise-In, and I'm with Will Ward. And Will, you brought us this awesome airplane, a Chinese-built MiG-17. You flew it from Jackson, Michigan. How long did it take you?
The trip down here took about 22 minutes. I was flying at 14,500 feet and doing about 380 miles an hour over the ground, and the flight went real well. It was a little scuddy coming in, but it had enough fuel to divert to Fort Wayne if I had to, and once I got here, enough fuel to do a couple passes, so it worked out real well today. I was real pleased with the way everything went.
Well, Will, this is not an airplane you typically see. 10 years ago, you wouldn't see something like this at an air show.
No, it's been a real privilege to talk with a lot of the little kids, 8 or 9 years old. And when I was 8 or 9 years old, I made models of this airplane. And like I said, 10 years ago, these aircraft were just actually starting to come into the country. So to be a little kid, make models, and then finally find myself in a full-scale MiG-17 has been a real privilege.
How fast do you fly? When you came in, you did a couple flybys, and you were cooking.
I was doing about 250 knots. That's about my minimum control speed. The fastest I've had this airplane is about 620 miles an hour at the Jackson Air Show, and that was about 50 feet off the deck, and that's a lot of fun.
You've had this airplane to 620 mile an hour, almost the sound barrier. How much fuel are you burning?
When I'm going that fast, I'm burning 1 gallon a second, so 60 gallons a minute. So it goes through fairly rapidly. If I kept it in afterburner, it would go through all of its fuel in about 7 minutes.
So when you take off, you have to use your afterburner.
I don't have to. It depends on how much fuel, it depends on the temperature, and it depends on the runway length. Today, since I don't have my external tanks on, I'll actually probably be taking off what's called a dry takeoff, and then come back and do an afterburner pass.
This Chinese-built MiG-17, built in China, what's the history of this airplane?
We're not quite sure what the history of it is. It's really hard to get history out of China. We suspect quite strongly that this airplane possibly flew in the Vietnam conflict against the American forces. We know that after that it was in the Chinese Navy in about 1989, 1990, when the Russian Empire collapsed. It was sent over here to a gentleman named Dean Martin in New Hampshire and restored at that time and bought by Doug Schultz. And then about 4 years after that, 4 or 5 years after that, I bought the aircraft.
10 years ago, you would not see an airplane like this anywhere in the United States, let alone right here in Marion, Indiana. What changed?
Just the collapse of the Soviet Union and some of its satellite countries, and the availability of people being able to ship these airplanes over here. And when the first aircraft showed up, the MiG-15, it was a huge hit. And this aircraft, being the MiG-17, is still fairly popular, but there's also MiG-21s, also possibly some MiG-29s in the airshow circuit that are privately owned here, maybe in the next couple of years.
Well, Will, we sure appreciate you bringing this airplane. I know you went to a grand effort dealing with a little weather to get this airplane here. A little bit about you. You fly professionally for an airline.
I fly for Spirit Airlines out of Detroit and fly the MD-80. I'm also flown DC-6s in Alaska and was a freight dog, and have flown about 70 different kinds of airplanes, and really enjoy what I'm doing right now. Everything's going real well.
Thank you, Will. You really made the Fly-In Cruise-In special this year. We appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much. It's a real privilege to be here. All right, thank you.